Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, Manny Chang always has to remind me about my terrible prediction that the Bengals would get smoked in that AFC Championship game. They were the ones who did the smoking. But it is what is today? Wednesday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. Now he's just flashing up random pictures. We got Manny Chang in the back doing big things. We're going to be having, in a few minutes, attorney Alan K. Fertel, who is our friend. He is the legal expert on this show, partner at Weiss, Sirota, Helfman, Cole, and Bierman. I know that's a mouthful. I always have to write it down to make sure I don't butcher the name of his law firm. That's a lot of partners, and partner Alan K. Fertel is going to join us in a few minutes to break down the latest allegations by former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores. And guys, I got to tell you, this new allegation and the way his lawyers are defending it, this looks like a massive reach to me, okay? Now, there are a ton of layers to the Brian Flores onion, right? I'm hoping this Flores class action lawsuit, I'm hoping a lot of good can come from this in terms of the NFL reforming their hiring practices and, being more respectful to people of color. Like, I think a lot of good can come out of this lawsuit, but I think there's also a lot of stuff in there that doesn't pass the eye test for me. Okay, so the latest allegation against the Miami Dolphins that's been making the rounds is Flores, in one of his recent TV appearances, has accused Stephen Ross of essentially trying to silence him at the time he was fired. That Stephen Ross, the way the story is being told here, personally delivered and tried to pressure Brian Flores to sign a non-disparagement agreement, or NDA. And the way Flores' side tells the story, it makes it appear as though, hey, he's basically admitting they, did a lot of terrible things with the way they handled Flo, and now we want you to sign this so we can hush you up and keep you from going out and telling the truth. We're going to keep you from doing these interview rounds and telling people about how terrible we treated you. So pull up, and of course, when these allegations came out that, Stephen Ross gives Brian Flores an NDA, which he says he didn't sign, the Miami Dolphins, of course, categorically denied the allegations. Pull up the tweet, Manny, of the response then from Flo's lawyers. And this, to me, and we're going to have a lawyer joining us in just a second, this is what didn't pass the eye test for me. So pull up a couple of these pages here real quick, Manny. Okay, I'm looking through this. And then the other thing is, like, they're trying to prove that this came directly from Stephen Ross. Go to the third page of this, Manny, where, first of all, the only name that I actually see on this is Brandon Shore, who's the Senior Vice President, Football and Business Administration. So right there, they didn't offer any proof that this came directly from Brian Flores. And then here's the other thing, guys, and I saw a lot of people saying this on social media, and you're absolutely right. About 3 years ago, I was laid off from a job by a big corporation, and I received a letter, not the last part, which is when he, I guess, refused to sign the NDA, but I received a letter about signing a non-disparagement agreement that looked exactly like the one Brian Flores received. And folks, that wasn't because my former employer at that time thought, oh, wow, we treated this guy terribly and we have this big scandal that he can uncover. And oh, no, if we let this guy go out there and flap his gums, he can ruin us. No, it was a standard fucking legal thing. Like, that's what I'm saying here. Like, in my experience, something that, and in my case, this, I had to sign this to receive severance pay. I think it was 4 weeks pay or something like that. In Brian Flores' case, they wanted him to sign this agreement to receive, the rest of the money that was owed on his guaranteed contract. But what I'm saying here is this response by Brian Flores' legal team, and I am not an attorney, but this to me looks like incompetence, where they presented as their quote unquote evidence. I don't know if they thought this was some kind of a smoking gun. This looks like the standard type of documentation that a terminated employee has to sign. And I experienced something like this. I see a lot of people saying they had to sign a letter that looked an awful lot like this one, that this isn't anything out of the ordinary. So that's one thing. This seems like a very standard separation agreement is what they call these things. And then the other thing is, where's the proof that this came directly from Steve Ross with any sort of pressure. I don't see his name on this document. I don't see any video of him delivering this document. So this thing is crazy to me again. And it's like, and one of the things that I have to wonder here from the outside looking in, and, you know, we have a lot of steps that are yet to play out with this Brian Flores lawsuit. But when you see a response like this from his legal team that to me doesn't prove anything, that's got to make me wonder, is that going to hurt their credibility with all the other allegations that they're making? So let's bring on our legal expert, he is dressed to impress today. I mean, this guy, he is unlike me. I just flap my gums and say crazy things. This man is an attorney, Alan K. Fertel. He was such a big hit the last time he joined us. We had to bring him back on. How are you, Alan? I was going to say good afternoon, but it's still morning. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And of course, you work in the sports and entertainment field, and you've been following this story very closely. We spoke to you earlier this month, right after it all broke. And so, okay, give me your breakdown of this NDA thing, because Alan, first of all, this looks to me, and I'm sure you've seen a lot more of these than I have, this looks like a pretty standard separation agreement, and they're making it sound like they were trying to give him hush money.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure if I'm a sports and entertainment lawyer. I might have slept in a Holiday Inn last night. And I think you just got me on here because you like me. But let me tell you a couple of things. First of all, of course, good morning. And thank you for having me. I love Brian Flores. I mean, it's sort of like Brian Piccolo. You know what? Did you remember that back in the day? I loved Brian Piccolo. But
I saw the movie.
I love Brian Flores. He keeps me talking to you. He keeps me getting interviewed. And instead of me arguing with some of my Dolphin fans in the elevator, I get to do this with you. So thanks for having me on. This is much to do about nothing. You hit this. Alex, you're starting to play a lawyer on your show, man. I got to tell you, I don't know if it's hanging out with me or not, but this is a bootstrap argument. This is to keep the news cycle fresh. Okay, that's what we've got here. There were three things. First, there was the lawsuit. Well, first was the firing. Then there was the lawsuit. Then there was him getting a job at Pittsburgh for, in a defensive, not coordinator, but a defensive coach capacity. And now it's let's make the next run and try to get some more airplay, some more coverage. Okay. This is so normal in business. Yeah. When I represented QAM, I would make sure that every single talent that left the station would sign a severance agreement and a non-disclosure agreement. And if you didn't sign it, you didn't get whatever pay was coming to you, whether that's a severance pay or in this case, a 2-year contractual pay. So this is so nothing. This is a pimple on an elephant's big, big, big butt.
Yeah.
First. Second, bad move by the lawyers. Because you said it also, if this is what they're showing you, a document that pretty much contradicts what they're claiming, bad form. So first of all, they're not going to pay him the money that he is entitled to because he did not get fired for cause. Right. There's firing for cause and there's firing at will, and they fired him and they owe him a couple of years of money. The fact that Pittsburgh just hired him reduces the Dolphins' amount because he doesn't get to get both. He gets his full amount minus the amount that he's being paid in another job. That's called mitigating his damages, and he has done that. Some people laughed at me. They said to me, because I came out on your show and said, I think it's, career suicide. I don't think he's going to be an NFL head coach again. Oh, Fertel was wrong. He is a coach. Well, he's
not a head coach.
He's a coach, but understand two things about him. First, in New England, he was never named defensive coordinator. He took over the job of calling defensive plays, and I think it was Patricia's left. He was the defensive coordinator. They never gave him the defensive coordinator position. First. Second, Pittsburgh isn't either.
Right.
He is an assistant coach. He is not the defensive coordinator. The coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Tomlin, they're buds. And we always said that Flores was an excellent defensive coach. We never, ever argued that. His choice of lawyers, his choice of lawsuit, whatever, that's suspect now. So the first thing, don't pay him. Do not fund your opponent's litigation. Okay, so that's a rule. Now, if he would have signed this, he would have waived litigation, because in this agreement, the real purpose of a severance agreement is to waive every cause of action that you have against the company that you work for. You can't sue them for anything. There's a release attached. That's why you pay him the money due under the contract, to shut him up for the rest of his life. And Flores didn't accept that. So that's his right not to accept it. He decided to sue them instead. Now they're going to decide to hold back any money that they were required to pay him until a court or a settlement obligates them to do so. Let's talk about Ross, because that's where he's got you-know-what by the you-know-whats, okay? Yeah. That the best part, there's two parts of his lawsuit that are actually good. The one about the Giants signing Debo before he was even interviewed, that creates a fraud issue. Did you induce him to come there with an expectation of him getting a fair shot at the job? The job was already given away. They got a claim against the Giants. He's got a claim against the Giants. It's not a class action. There's substantially related coaches. They're all different. They all have different expertise, different experience, different coaching abilities. But the thing against the Giants, there's a claim. Okay, now the real claim, because when I talk to you, we got to talk Dolphin football. The real claim is, did Ross offer the guy $100,000? Right. That's it. Okay?
And I got to be honest, Alan, now that I see that this is the type of evidence they're going to present for one allegation, I got to wonder, do they have real evidence for this other one?
Okay. Steve Ross didn't get to be where he is because he puts stupid stuff in paper. If he's going to make a statement, he's going to make sure that statement is heard by nobody else but the other person who's hearing the statement. If it's an illegal statement, he's going to be more cautious and careful, and he's not going to confirm it in an email. Like, if Flores turned around and wrote an email, "Dear Mr. Ross, this will confirm that you have offered me $100,000 for every loss," he probably would have been let go at that time. Okay, probably, because you don't do that. Okay, so this, like I said, is a bootstrap. They're trying to keep the news going. They're trying to keep them in front of the televisions. They're trying to do their show. Now it's HBO. Before it was all of the morning shows and the news shows, and now it's sports-centric on HBO, Real Sports or whatever it was with Gumbel. Yeah. Listen, it hurts his case because he now is taking the position that Stephen Ross made him sign or tried to induce him to sign this document. There's no way in life the owner of the Miami Dolphins goes to a low-level situation and doesn't have his colonels or his sergeants take care of, I'm going to do this like this, dirty work. Okay? Steve Ross ain't taking out his time and his day to get this done, even if Steve Ross offered the guy $100,000.
Right.
He's not going to have his fingerprints anywhere on this document. He's not going to be close. He's going to have records that he was 3,000 miles away at the time that this occurred. And it does hurt Flores, man. It does, because look at the regular human beings out there. We're all irregular human beings, but you know what I mean. Your listeners are not regular human beings. And
no, not if they're watching this. They're definitely not regular.
Or if they're taping it and watching it later, like I'm going to be doing. So, but and I'm not a regular human being either, so don't worry about it. That's why you have me. So you got a situation here where he's trying to keep the pressure on, but he's hurting himself. I think the court of public opinion now says, if this is bullshit, excuse my language, but you actually dropped good. You dropped an F-bomb before, so that's like my favorite thing in the world. I'll try not to do that. If this is bullshit, the other allegation is just as bullshit. Because if you lie once, it's a credibility issue, and I use this in court all the time. Right. If I've got a witness in a lie, my argument to the jury in closing is, you saw that he lied. I proved to you that he lied. If he lies once, you think that's the only time he's ever lied in his life? He's probably lying today. So you did the same analysis. I know it's no jury, but you did the same analysis. You looked at this and said, so some vice president of maybe employment. I don't even know the I'm sorry that I'm not right on it like you are. You've got it right in front of you, but it's a lower level guy. It's a regular dude in a suit that hands a document to the dismissed
it's the senior vice president of football and business administration. A gentleman, Brandon Shore, was the one who signed this document.
And that's totally normal because this is not an event. This is same old shit, different day. Every single person that leaves a business during a contract gets this. I did it at QAM. I do it with my athletes.
In fact, and they were the ones who 3 years ago laid me off. I sense I still work with them to this day, but I wonder if the document that they use is probably the one that you drafted for them back in the day. So thanks for that, Alan.
Look, there's restrictive covenants in your agreements. They had to make you sit down for a couple of months after you did whatever you did.
Yep.
And there's a cooling off period. And in Florida, they actually have to pay you to sit. And they do. And they did. And that's the business that we're in. And that's the business you're in. And that's the football business too. Why the hell would the Dolphins want any other NFL team to be able to get information about the Dolphins, whether it be that they offered $100,000 or the scheme of their defenses or their draft thought process? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in football and in business that are trade secrets.
Yeah.
That are work product. You don't want some coach going from team A to team B and telling team B every single thing that occurred at team A. Well, we did it this way, and there was this plan to do this, and they wanted analytics, and they wanted to lose in order to get better draft picks. None of that, okay? So you're always going to try to protect yourself when you are the guy paying the money. Mm-hmm. And when I say the guy, the business paying the money. And this is normal. This is what they call an exit interview. On an exit interview, you sit down with the person that you're letting go. You have a conversation with them. I'm sorry, we're not able to do this. You're being terminated. We intend to pay you the remaining 2 years on your contract. You need to sign this document. This document is a severance agreement. It includes a release of all claims, anything that you could think of in the world, sexual harassment claims, breach of contract claims, any claims for discrimination, any kind of claims that they could have. And if you don't sign that, and of course, a non-disclosure agreement, you're not going to disclose stuff that you learned when you worked for the Miami Dolphins. I'm sure he signed something like that for the Patriots.
Right.
I'm sure that there was some discussion, but this is nothing. This is just an opportunity for me to come on your show and talk to you again. And you called me today. You're lucky I'm in a suit because I got some other stuff to do today.
And you know what, Alan, and it's so important for us to have this conversation because, and again, like I'm glad you complimented my interpretation of it. That means a lot to me, but I'm obviously not a lawyer. And the majority of people who saw that tweet from his lawyers with, the pages of that separation agreement, I saw a lot of people reacting like, oh my God, they've got real evidence. But then for me, I had to sign something similar about 3 years ago. And I looked at that. I'm like, hey, it looks like the same thing I signed. It looks this doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to get him to cover up some scandal. That seems like a very standard separation agreement. So I didn't see what the big deal was about that.
Look, sometimes you just put documents in front of people and people get excited that they're documents.
Yeah. Bingo.
The devil is in the details, man. Okay. Who signed the document? It doesn't say Steve Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins. Right. I doubt very, very much that Ross was even in on that discussion. Okay. I mean, he's trying to throw Ross so far under the bus. And I really think this was a big swing and a miss. I think that the sentiment of public opinion, once you actually read what's been put out there, is going to suggest that, you know what, this guy might not be as credible as everybody thought out of the box. He looked credible when he was on the first set of shows. Mm-hmm. He handled himself well. His lawyers were okay, But right now, I feel that they feel that the 15 minutes of fame has gone away. He then got a job at a reduced price and a reduced level. And what are we going to do now to keep this story going? Because remember, I told you before, it's so important to get this case resolved before they go through a motion to dismiss. So probably they weren't getting enough traction from the initial splash. He went and got a job, and things are just moving in a regular sort of direction. Now they got to come and bring that back to the middle. They separated and spread out their television appearances. They went and did the morning shows on everything right after filing. And now you got Real Sports, which is an HBO show that gets taped differently. And they have that a week or so later. But let's think about it for a second. Steve Ross didn't ask Brian Flores to shut up. Steve Ross didn't ask Brian Flores to execute this agreement. This is standard and normal operating procedure. It's a swing and a miss by the lawyers. And to me, it interferes with the credibility of the initial filing, because you're going to have to question this now. You are doing it. You're explaining to your listeners and to your viewers that you sat in that chair. It's a very uncomfortable but normal occurrence in a separation from a company, especially a company that's got a lot of lawyers and it's got a lot of documents, and they have their own release language, and they have their own indemnification language, and they have their own non-disclosure agreements. And it's nothing. Okay? You could not be more correct in what you said on the lead in to me coming on when I was listening to you. You've gone to the School of Public Opinion Law School. You're good. You're on it. You're seeing the right issues. And once again, to me, gets me to get an invite to hang out with you for 15 or 20 minutes. I won't use up 45 like the last time, and I promise this will be a quickie. But I like that you call me.
Of course.
When you have a sports/law issue. And I will do my best to make myself available to you because of our relationship.
Well, and real quick, I don't know if there's a quick answer to this. I know you do have to go off in a few, but I do want one follow-up as far as the $100,000 allegation. Like, supposedly they have some kind of a witness or two on this, and I've heard some speculation that Stephen Ross might use the defense of, if he did say it, maybe he said it jokingly. Do you think would hypothetically, would that be a good defense? How do you think they should approach that?
No, you don't
just say nothing.
You don't joke about telling your head coach to lose for $100,000.
Right.
I would tell him to, with respect, if you're asking me how I would counsel Mr. Ross.
Yeah.
Mr. Ross, you told me this didn't happen. If that's what you're telling me and you're telling me the truth, then that's the representation that you need to make to the world. I believe they've already done that in a statement, but he's going to get deposed. He is going to, there's going to be an investigation there is an investigation by the league. So clearly Stephen Ross is going to have to make a statement to the league investigators. And the statement is consistent with what he's put out. He did not make this comment. He did not make this offer. He might have said something. Look, if you guys lose, it's not going to hurt your your coaching. Something like that. It's not going to hurt your ability here. Right. I'm not going to look at your win-loss record and determine whether that's the deciding factor in keeping you or not keeping you, because I understand that we don't have the greatest team right now. But to prove that Stephen Ross said, I am going to pay you $100,000 for every loss, is going to require Brian to get on the stand and swear to God it happened. And it's going to require Stephen to get on the stand and swear to God it didn't happen. And it's going to require 6 or 12 in a box, depending on where we are. Those are the jurors to determine credibility. And when a lawyer for Stephen Ross gets through with Flores on the stand and goes through allegations such as this one that we're talking about today, it's going to have an effect on the credibility of Brian Flores. And I would be, if I'm Stephen Ross today, I'm happier than I was last week.
Yeah.
Because it does affect the way people look at Brian Flores' lawsuit right now. Because we put that, remember I told you when you go to a motion to dismiss, every well-pled allegation is taken as true for the purpose of the motion? Mm-hmm. Well, in the court of public opinion, it's the allegation. I told you that last time. It's the allegation. So he's alleged. And everyone's like, yeah, Ross did this. Yeah, Ross did this. There's an allegation out there that Ross did this. We want to get rid of Ross. So why the hell won't we use this reason? Because he's trying to make sure we lose games. Okay. That's not what the proof is going to show now. And that has an effect on, once again, the court of public opinion's view of this case. Whether it will have that effect on the NFL's view, on the Giants' view, on the Dolphins' view, that's up to them. But to me, when I heard it, I called bullshit right away.
As did I.
No, right away. Right away, because it's just same old shit, normal operating procedure, standard. We've all done it. We've either signed them or not signed them. I've prepared them. I know what they're used for. I know how they're used. And the Dolphins were correct in trying to get a former employee that they just fired who could go to other teams to sign a non-disclosure agreement and a severance package. And you got to pick your shots, man. This wasn't a good one.
Well said.
That I don't know about well said or not.
No, honestly, I mean, you do a great job of explaining all the legalese.
Maybe that's because I used to be a regular person before I became a lawyer, or an irregular person, as we know.
Right, exactly. Well, I can't thank you enough. He's Alan Fertel, partner at Weiss, Sirota, Helfman, Cole, and Bierman. And anytime we've got legal questions, I'm glad I can go to him because he adds credibility. So, Alan, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Alex, I love you in a manly way. You have a great, great day. You're awesome, man.
Right back at you. Oh, and I love the South Park reference there from Dave. You use the Chewbacca defense. Oh man. Hey, I want to remind you guys that this show, and I have so much fun interacting with you guys. And by the way, this is, again, I've done this so many times lately, and I apologize. I've got a lunch meeting I've got to go to in Broward in a little bit, and so I had to do the show early today again. Our normal time is still 3:00. That's our normal time, but like Alan was saying about himself, I'm not a normal guy either, and sometimes I'm being pulled in 100 different directions. And I'm again thankful that I can essentially do this show whenever. We always shoot for 3 p.m. Sometimes we make it, sometimes we don't. So for those of you who are watching us live here, just a few minutes before 12 noon here on Wednesday, thank you so much for finding us live. And by the way, maybe there are some people who are able to watch live at this time who can't watch live later. So if you're with us, because I see some new faces on the chat, if you're with us for the first time, keep in mind you can always get the replays for the show. That's number one. And number two is, guys, smash that like button. Please smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. And if you're able, and if you want to, throw us a tip on the super chat. You can make monetary donations on there as well. It goes a long way, and we appreciate the support. And if you can't, not a big deal, man. The show is free. The show is free. And the reason why the show is free, we've got to thank great folks like the people at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. In fact, I mentioned I had a lunch meeting today. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be at the Quarterdeck a couple hours from now, about an hour and a half from now, enjoying a nice late lunch. Oh, I love the food at the Quarterdeck. Guys, locations all over Broward County. oh, you need to try the fresh seafood at the quarter deck. I love to build my own poke bowl. I love the fresh mahi. The mahi sandwich is incredible. If you're not a seafood fan, believe me, they've got stuff for you guys. Oh, they have baby back ribs that are so tender. The sandwiches and burgers are so good. And the quarter deck is a great place to wet your whistle. 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. They literally have a 2-for-1 special on drinks that never ends. No matter what time you're there. You're there at noon, you're there at 9 p.m., you're there at 4 p.m. It's always happy hour at the quarter deck. Take advantage of the 2-for-1 drinks, guys, and the beer is always cold at the quarter deck. Now, the quarter deck is not just a sports bar because it's also a really awesome dining experience and the food is great. But yeah, it is a sports bar too. They got TVs covering every wall. You can watch the big games. You can watch the big fights. I think it's so much fun to go out there. We've had Heat and Panthers watch parties at the quarter deck. It's so much fun to go out there and watch the games on the big screen. And the owners of the quarter deck are big UFC fans. They offer every UFC pay-per-view fight for zero cover charge. You pay no cover to watch a UFC pay-per-view at the quarter deck. So we hope to see you out there for UFC 272 and 273 and everything beyond that. So if you want to find the location nearest to you and peep their menu before you go, check them out on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The quarter deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And folks, we have an official sports book here on Donno Daily. And hey, just because football season's over doesn't mean the fun has to stop. You can bet on NHL games. And oh, I do apologize. I did mush the Panthers last night, but I did win a bet on Canes basketball. Canes basketball demolished Pittsburgh yesterday. They won by like 26 points. I had Miami -4, and we won big last night, baby. So find out what the fun is all about. I talk to people every now and then that are like, hey, I hear you guys talk about sports betting sometimes, but I don't really know how to do it. I don't have a guy. I don't have a website. First of all, you have a guy. That guy is me. And you have a website. That's betus.com. It's America's favorite sports book. And it's fully available in Florida, by the way. Fully available in the state of Florida. You can use all of their services there at betus.com. It is a full-service sports book. You can bet on the NBA games, NHL games, international soccer. There are games happening all the time, guys. You can bet them at betus.com. Sign up today. And make sure when you sign up, you use our hookup, okay? Because I don't want anybody signing up and forgetting we've got a code word. Because first of all, the code word gives credit to us, which is great. Second of all, and more importantly, the code word gives you a massive bonus. So when you sign up at betus.com, they're going to ask you if you have a promo code, and you do. 5RSN125. Type it in. 5RSN125. Write it down if you're going to be signing up later. When you type in our code when you make your deposit, they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. It is the best bonus in the industry. Guys, I perused a lot of different sports books. Don't waste your time with the other sports books. You're not going to find a bonus like the one they have at betus.com. A 125% sign-up bonus. You can bet sports. You can play in their online casino. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. I play blackjack in there for real money. They have other table games, slot games. 5RSN125. They're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. You bet, you win, you get paid. betus.com. We also have an official fantasy sports partner here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, and that is Prize Picks. Guys, Prize Picks have been really good to us. There are so many games you can play on Prize Picks. It is you versus the numbers. It combines my love for parlays and for daily fantasy. On Prize Picks, you simply select 2, 3, or 4 players and predict if they're going to go over or under their fantasy projections. And if you get those predictions correct, you win real money. You can get 10 times your money for getting 4 predictions correct. And yeah, we got a code for that as well. 5. Sign up with our code 5, F-I-V-E, and they will match your first deposit 100% up to $100. Prize Picks truly is daily fantasy simplified. And yeah, like David points out here, I'm lucky that Brooklyn Rob apparently is not in the chat yet today, because I made a few sports wagers last night, and I came out in the plus yesterday, that's good for me. People call me the mush. Guys, believe it or not, sometimes I do win, but I also sometimes mush, and I bet the Florida Panthers -1.5 yesterday against the Nashville Predators. They had to win by 2 goals or more. Instead, they lost by 2 goals. So I mushed the Panthers. I'm not going to bet on the Panthers again this season because I want them to win a Stanley Cup. So if their only route to a Stanley Cup is me refraining from wagering on them, I will take one for the team because they don't win when I bet on them. So, and if you guys want to like pay me to bet against them for a reverse mush, we're open for business, guys. Now, I did a little fishing yesterday on Twitter, a little trolling, if you want to call it that. So, and I think, and I will admit, okay, sometimes I make funny tweets. Other times I make tweets that are funny in my head and they fall flat. And this might have been one of those. So you guys remember no, not that one. Oh, yeah, I did get humiliated by that one. But no, you guys remember a couple of days ago, Nick Hicks, Tua's trainer at Perform. I think he's the one who runs the Perform Twitter account. He starts putting out these hype videos of Tua Tagovailoa working out. And the first one of these that I saw, I thought was a little ridiculous. It's Tua is throwing a medicine ball against a wall, and it's like super slow motion. I was actually impressed by some of the other videos. The footwork drills that he's doing, I'm like, bro, I can't do that. I could never do that. I was impressed by the medicine ball thing. I thought was really funny. And not only was that video funny to me, the reaction that the Tua nears were having to it, the Tua stands, they were like high-fiving each other because this guy's throwing a medicine ball. I'm like, what does that have to do with playing the quarterback position? So, the Dolphins yesterday, they signed, I assume this guy's probably going to compete for, there it is, there's the bet. Look, you look at that and you say, that's my franchise quarterback. I would like to see I would like to see how hard Aaron Rodgers could throw a medicine ball. Can Pat Mahomes do that with a medicine ball? So, so I write a stupid tweet yesterday because the Dolphins, they signed, I assume this guy's probably going to compete for the backup job or maybe be like a training camp body. But the Dolphins signed former CFL quarterback Chris Streveler. And then I tweet on it, and I say, are there any videos of this guy throwing a medicine ball to get us hyped? And listen, if you want to tell me the joke isn't funny, fine. I said, bro, I sent you that exact tweet. He's looking for it now. I sent you the tweet into the pigskin DMs thing. There it is. There. See, he's got it now. So I write this tweet, and okay, a couple people thought it was funny. Some people with Tua avatars were attacking me, but look who took the bait. You see that Perform right there. Nick Hicks, Tua's trainer, took the bait. This is what he had to say about my tweet. He said, "Grade A, top choice, chef's cut loser tweet." Oh, he's dragging me. He's dragging me through the mud. And I know anytime I write something that even questions Tua, I know Juan Cardona is always going to get my back. And the thing is, like, I love how the Tua avatar mafia are like attacking me. They're calling me a loser. What else do I have to do with my time for writing that tweet? I don't even is this tweet that I wrote, is that even making fun of Tua? Like, you guys are so sensitive. And I'm getting tired of explaining myself, right? I mean, I think the people who watch the show and they kind of understand my really dumb sense of humor, whether you think I'm funny or not, at least you guys understand me. Like, when you watch the show every day, you have a little context for what I say. I like trolling when it comes to Tua. I'm not a Tua hater. Am I a full-on Tua believer? No, I think the guy has limitations. I don't think he was worth a 5th overall draft pick, but at the same time, I am a Dolphins fan. He is the Dolphins quarterback. I am rooting for him. Okay. I'm not one of these people who wants Tua to fail to prove a point. No, I want Tua to succeed because I love the team. And Tua seems like a great guy. Like, I would love it if Tua can succeed and win Super Bowls. Even Dan Marino couldn't win Super Bowls here, man. And I also think, in my honest, humble opinion, that Tua Tagovailoa now has the right head coach to potentially bring the best out of him. Because I know this coach is going to be able to design an offense that can hide some of Tua's weaknesses, accentuate Tua's strengths, and this offense is going to become a run-first offense, run to set up the pass. And I think that this offense is going to play into Tua's abilities of having a quick, accurate release on short and intermediate throws, creating yards after catch. So I think Tua is now in a great situation. It's up to him now to maximize it. So that's my take on Tua. But people on Twitter, some people hate Twitter. I love Twitter. I love the fact that sarcasm just dies. Sarcasm, it dies out there on those Twitter streets. So I write a couple of trolling things, and then I've got the people with the Tua avatars coming after me because they take everything so literally. Oh my God, how dare he attack? Oh, it's just fun to me, man. Oh, so I reeled in a big fish, and that guy performed. I've had some positive interactions with him on Twitter before as well. I can't tell, and he does follow me. I follow him. I can't tell if like he gets it or if he just hates me and maybe he follows me. It's like what was it? Was it Michael Corleone who said, "You keep your friends close, you keep your enemies closer." So maybe he considers me an enemy, and that's why he follows me on Twitter. I don't know what it is, but we've had some interesting banter. We've had some good ones. I was reading something today. Bleacher Report went through all 32 NFL teams, and they said this is the one mistake that each of the 32 teams needs to avoid in the upcoming draft. And so they say about the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, I scanned for the Dolphins. That piqued my interest. They say the Miami Dolphins should avoid not investing multiple draft picks in the O-line. I know that's a double negative. So basically, they're saying the Miami Dolphins should invest multiple draft picks, specifically high draft picks in the offensive line. I am of mixed feelings on this. I do not disagree in principle because the Miami Dolphins offensive line, statistically, the worst in the league last year. They were bad. Eye test, stat test. By every test, the Dolphins' offensive line was bad last year. You need to improve it. But my point from day one has been, and yeah, the Dolphins are projected to have the highest salary cap space in the entire National Football League at over $60 million. I would do the bulk, and I'm not saying don't draft a lineman. Go ahead. Go ahead and draft 1-2 offensive linemen. But I would use the bulk of my free agent money on fixing the offensive line. Because unfortunately, this front office has not shown me that they do a very good job evaluating O-linemen out of college. So it might be better to invest free agent money in known commodities versus rolling the dice again. That's part one. And then the other part of it is when you're talking about your early round draft picks, and unfortunately, your first round pick is until number 29. Based on my knowledge so far of the draft field, and I say so far because it's late February, a lot is going to change over the next 2 months, right? Once everybody gets in their combine study and interviews, the way that we look at the upcoming draft class is going to change. It's going to evolve. It always does. But I perceive that there's going to be more value around pick 29. I think you're going to have better, stronger options at the wide receiver position than you will at offensive tackle and certainly at running back. And you need to address running back as well. I wouldn't do it in the first round. I wouldn't do it any earlier than the second round. That's just my belief with the running back position. But I think you could get value at the wide receiver position with your first round pick that you can't get as much of anywhere else. So I'm all about fixing the offensive line, but I'm not necessarily signing off on you need to draft 3 or 4 guys in the O-line and use your first round pick on it. I think that the big focus, Teron Armstead is the guy at the top of my list in free agency. Focus primarily your free agent money resources on the offensive line before you even focus draft picks. A combination of both is fine. But yeah, I mildly disagree with that assessment. So, all right, I want to throw some shout outs before we get out of here today. I want to shout out Manny Chang for being the man, the myth, the legend. Now, it's Wednesday. He's usually out in the woods on Wednesday, but I heard his survival training is actually complete. And you know what? When I see what's going on in the Ukraine, I think Manny might have had the right idea doing survival training. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but I've heard some people throw out the possibility of World War III. That's exactly what Manny Chang has been training for. Every Wednesday, I think he's finished. He's graduated from his program. Every Wednesday, Manny Chang goes out to the deep forest, survival training. He's got beef jerky hanging out of both pockets, dodging wild animals. He's learning how to start fires with sticks. He's learning how to smoke his own jerky. He's learning how to build tents and build shelters. And a few weeks ago, it seemed crazy what Manny was doing. And now we see, my friend, we see what's going on in Ukraine. Ukraine is weak. No, it's not weak. It's my country, the Ukraine. Citing the old Seinfeld episode, they had the Risk board. Newman and Kramer were playing Risk I still have stronghold in the Ukraine. Yeah, there's the deep woods. It's a beautiful photo of the deep woods that Manny Chang took. It's probably a Google image, but I think it's a beautiful photo nonetheless. So honestly, he might have known about the potential World War III before anybody else did. He's been out there training diligently for months. So I may have to get some tips from Manny on how to survive. Let's throw some shout outs here. Paul, thank you so much for tuning in. They need a middle linebacker. They need a good, strong receiver, and they do need offensive line. Yeah, and they need running back as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. My guy, David. David is one of the people who reminds me daily what a mush I am. I didn't mush Canes basketball. I may have mushed the Florida Panthers. Did not mush Canes basketball last night, so there's that. Thank God Brooklyn Rob isn't here to call me out because he's the one who started calling me the mush. He was the one who coined that nickname for me. Let's see who else is in here. And again, we're out at an unusual time today, and I think I think AC. Yeah, okay, AC I think was one of the ones who found us today. And yeah, man, if you're I don't know what your schedule's like, but if you're ever free to watch us at 3, if you're not a replay fan, fine, I can understand it. You'd rather watch the live shit, right? If you're not a replay fan, if you're ever available, we're usually on 3 p.m. Tomorrow will definitely be on at 3 p.m. He says, I am typically a replay guy, but I wanted to be here. Oh, okay. I see. I don't read very well. I didn't read that well the first time. So he's typically a replay guy. He came here live for the attorney. Yeah, and Alan K. Fertel was excellent. Excellent. And yeah, that was me. I wonder if I'm going to have to bust that out this coming season. So I love Mike McDaniel. I love me some Mario Cristobal and the staff. Both these guys are building excellent coaching staffs. I mean, McDaniel is building like an A- caliber staff, which I'm a tough grader. Cristobal's building an A+ caliber staff. Like I'm very excited for football season this coming year. Let's see who else is in the chat. Rome Gray, thank you so much. And I was interested in Rome's perspective. If I was reading his messages correctly, so he is there. He goes. He says, "I'm black and a Dolphins fan." So I think like he's annoyed with Flores, but it's like, and I understand because he's making all of his claims look less credible if he's lying about certain things, because at the same time, and and I've said it 1,000 times and I'll say it again, I'm hoping that real good can come out of this Flores lawsuit, because the NFL, it's obvious when you look at the percentage of coaches of color versus players, it doesn't add up. There's no minority ownership in the league. The Rooney Rule has been treated like a complete joke since they created it. So I want real reformation with the NFL's hiring practices. I think that this can improve, and I'm hoping that that's some good that can come out of the Brian Flores lawsuit. And it's got to be frustrating to see him and his lawyers put their foots in their mouths with these other things if it takes away from the good that they're trying to do. Kevin, thank you so much for tuning in. G.A. Kane fan, we love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. I don't do it on purpose. I literally scroll through there manually and try to shout out everybody that I can. So huge shout out again, Alan K. Fertel, our excellent legal expert. He is the legal expert of this show, for joining us. And yeah, if you guys are tuning in live late and you missed Alan, be sure to fire up the replay because he broke down this NDA allegation, the Dolphins' response, and then the further response from Flo's legal team. He broke it down in a way, not to toot our horn here, but I don't know if you're going to find a breakdown like that too many other places. I know a lot of people in the Dolphin space, in the NFL space, are talking about it. Some of them are having on attorneys. A lot of them aren't, which means it's just some dude like me giving his opinion. But when it comes to something serious like this, when you're talking about anytime we're talking about medical matters, I like to bring on a doctor. Anytime we're talking about legal matters, I like to bring on a lawyer, right? Because I'm not qualified to go deep on those things. So some people are doing it, others aren't. And even those who have attorney friends probably don't do it as well as Alan Fertel does, because he explains things so well. He explains the legalese into English so well. So if you missed that, fire up the replay. He joined me like 4 or 5 minutes into the show. We had about a 25 minute chat. So make sure you check that out, because Alan K. Fertel is really, really good at what he does. All right, so huge shout out to everybody, to Manny Chang, to everybody who watched us. Make sure, again, I'll remind you one more time, smash the like button, hit that like button, subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube if you haven't already, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow. For those who do watch us live, we're going to be back to the regular time tomorrow, 3 p.m. right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.